Hey guys, this is Trevor Wicken from medxcoach.com, back here with Senior Warrior John Strauch. That's right. So we're on the next series. We worked last time on the foam rolling or the releasing techniques of what muscles are super duper tight. So our goal of the last video was to get rid of the muscle spasm and release those. Now our goal is to lengthen those same muscles and get more range of motion and flexibility. So when John and I started, he really was talking to me about how he's never been flexible. He was flexible basically for the first 2 minutes of his life, and then it just went away.
It was over with.
It was over with. So he's had a lot of stiffness his whole life, a lot of hip pain, foot pain, and now some low back stuff. So these stretches are good for flexibility, but he actually, when we went through these, was saying he felt strength training in there as well. So if you're feeling weak in your legs and your core, this is going to get you strong while you stretch, which is a bonus because we're all about multitasking here, okay? So the exercises that we're going to do today, the main objective is to get more flexibility in the hips, get rid of the anterior pelvic tilt this way, because when these hips pull down and these muscles get real tight, your gluteal muscles shut down and all that pressure goes right into your low back. With that, if you have low mobility in your hips, then what happens is your posture starts to come forward like this and your body starts to hinge. Guess where the hinge in your body is? Right here. So if you're constantly forward like this, every single time you get up, that low back and that spine is going to get real overworked, real tired, and real irritated. Okay? So by getting your glutes active and strong and getting these muscles lengthened and flexible, you're going to be able to pull yourself up so your whole body's helping you stand up instead of just those back muscles. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is what's called a child's pose. That's going to stretch out all these muscles up here. Okay? So John's going to go down in all fours in a quadruped position, and he's going to pull his abs up, and all he's going to do is lightly let his hips fall down towards his feet, okay? And pause. Now, John has a lot of shoulder, not a little bit, he's got a lot of shoulder tightness up here. So when we first did this, he's like, this kind of hurts my shoulders. So this is the main one, but if that hurts your shoulder still, the modification is to drop down to your forearms, walk them out a little bit, like that, and now sit back. You feel that? Mm-hmm. Does it make you happy?
Happy, happy.
Happy, happy, happy. And so now he's feeling this stretch right along this lower portion of his back. People always ask, how do you stretch out your low back? This is one of the best and safest ways to do it instead of cranking your legs up in all that old school way. Okay? Now, there's 3 parts to this. So he does this for about a 30 count. Then go ahead and walk your hands to the right. Cool. And hang out. So when he does that, that's going to stretch the opposite side. So he's now stretching the left side of his low back, a muscle that's called your quadratus lumborum, or you'll see it written as QL. Okay? And these are muscles that run along right there. When those get real tight, especially on one side, it'll hike that hip up, and then it causes a lot of problems in your sacroiliac joint or your SI joint, a lot of disc problems. Now go ahead and walk back the other way. Feeling good?
Feeling great.
Feeling great. Okay? Now, since he's over to the left, his back is now working his stretch on the right. Okay? So it's good to do both sides. If you're a little bit tighter on one side versus the other, do 2 rounds or 2 sets of the stretch on the side that's tight. So if he's tight on his right, he's going to do 2 sets like this and 1 set on the other side. Okay? All right, John. So come back in to hands and knees. Okay? So now from this position, it's an easy transition to what's called a kneeling hip flexor stretch. So I'm going to have John put one hand on the ground, and then you're going to put this leg forward. So his left leg's going to come forward. Okay? Put your foot here. All right. Now, this is a great stretch for this hip flexor, okay, or your rectus femoris muscle in here. Now, the big thing to watch out for is with a low back issue, if you arch your back, so if he's going to arch his back when he stretches, he's going to get low back pain. So what I want him to do is draw his abs in, and then I'm going to have him tuck his tail. So you're going to see his pelvis come underneath, and then he's going to slowly just lean forward, okay, and hold. When you feel that, I really want you to pull those abs in.
They're in.
They're in. And then get a little bit of a squeeze in your tush, okay? And you feel that in the front of your hip?
Absolutely.
Okay. So describe what you're feeling right now.
I'm feeling a burn from my hip down through my thigh.
Okay.
And I can feel my muscles tingling.
Good. You feel like you're challenging your balance a little bit?
I'm challenging my balance a whole lot.
Which is key. Okay? So we're going to hold that for about 30 to 45 seconds, and then we're going to switch legs. Okay? All right. So now go ahead and lie on your back.
Oh, thank you.
So see, John hasn't been able to do very much over the past 7 months because he's been very much injured, okay? And he has a very manual work kind of job as well because he does concrete raising. So he's actually out of his car a ton, going and doing bids. Doesn't do a lot of the hard labor stuff, but he's definitely in and out of the car, talking to people, driving a ton, which is not good for his back. So this is going to be his everyday drill kind of system when he gets up in the morning because that's when he's most stiff. And he's actually going to get a workout out of this because his body is pretty deconditioned and these muscles in here don't know what's going on. So you're going to actually use this, people with low back pain, for part of your workout or that pre-game before you go on your walks or do anything outside. Okay? So this next stretch is going to be for this muscle right here called your piriformis. That thing gets very, very tight. And a lot of times those nerves are running right next to that piriformis. And if it gets tight, it'll squeeze down on there and you'll get the typical sciatica going up through the leg, down the bottom, or down the outside of your lower leg, possibly into the foot, okay, which he does get on his left side. So what you're going to do is you're going to cross this leg over here. So he's going to take his left ankle and put it on the thigh on the right. And then what he's going to do is tuck his chin, okay, pull that belly button in, come forward and reach around that leg. And then if he can, just kind of lift it off the ground and he's going to sit back. Now the key thing is on this is he wants to keep his shoulders relaxed. And he has a hard time kind of getting his head down. So I would put like a pillow or a foam roller under that neck so you're not using those neck muscles while you're stretching. Okay? And he should be feeling that kind of down this hamstring and into that glute. Is that where you feel it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he's doing it properly. Okay? So let me show you a modification because if we go to the other side, I'm not going to have him do it because you can't see very well. But go ahead and pop that down. If you can't reach through and pull that leg back, number one, because you're not flexible enough, or number two, because it just hurts, what you're going to do is you're going to line this ankle up on this leg, you're going to take this hand, and you're just going to push this leg down. Okay? It's going to do pretty much the same thing. This would be a very, very beginner way of doing it. So you want to feel that stretch right through here. Once that becomes easy, meaning there's not going to be a lot of stretch in it. You're going to see the dog run here. See, we're at home. See, you don't even need a gym for this. Once this becomes very easy and there's not as much stretch, then progress to where you're reaching through and pulling back. Okay? So that's number 3. And then for number 4, we're going to go ahead and stand up.
Slowly.
All right. So this next stretch, what we're going to be doing is stretching the adductors or the inner thigh. Again, when we do an assessment on someone with low back pain, probably about 85% of the time, we'll actually see people's legs fall in like this because they have very little gluteal strength, which we'll get to in another video, but what they have a lot of is a tightness in this inner thigh, or this inner hip and inner thigh region, and it's causing an internal rotation of those legs and causing a lot of problems up here in the low back because it's shutting down the glutes. Okay? So he's going to stretch out his adductors. Okay? So how you're going to do this is you're going to get a real wide stance. Okay? And then I want you to step a half a step forward with your right foot. And then he's going to pull those abs in, lean forward just slightly, and then he's just going to lean towards that right leg. And what he wants to feel is right through here in that adductor. Okay? And you can go ahead and flex if you want, John. You can do something fun. See? It's a warrior pose. He's strong. So you feeling this right here?
I'm feeling it, man.
Okay, good. And what he's doing well is he's keeping his chest up and he's keeping his abs in, and so his back is not getting engaged at all. Okay? So again, you're going to hold that for about 30 to 45 seconds, and then let's switch to the other leg just to show him. So step back to center. Okay, feet nice and wide. Step forward with the left. Abs in. Lean to your left side this time. And hold. So he's doing really well here, working on his posture. And like we said, this is the secondary function of this is a balance activity too. So you get more burn for your buck on this is you're working balance, you're working strength in that leg, and you're working on flexibility in that right leg over there. Okay? So these 4 stretches are some of the best things you can do. You can rest, buddy.
Thank you.
He's been working hard all day. Okay? These are some of the 4 best stretches that you can do for low back. I recommend doing the foam rolling and the stretching every morning. We're going to check him out on this for the next 2 weeks, see how he does. I'm going to report his findings on medxcoach.com, both on Facebook and our blogs, and we're going to track his progress, and we're getting him back to fighting weight. Okay? All right, we're out.
Thank you.